Soccer's most X-rated tackles, we look at some of the worst challenges ever. Tottenham's Dele Alli was criticised for a rough tackle on Brecht Dejaegere during their Europa League match with Gent. But there have been plenty of far worse tackles in football in the past. Manchester United captain Roy Keane deliberately ended Alf Inge Haaland's career with a high tackle. West German keeper Harald Schumacher famously took out Patrick Battison. Steven Gerrard, Nigel de Jong and Graeme Souness also feature in Hall of Shame. It was a moment of absolute madness that cost Tottenham their place in the UEFA Europa League and ended a decent shot at silverware this season. Dele Alli's X-rated lunge on Gent's Brecht Dejaegere caused everyone inside Wembley, and those watching on television, to wince. It could easily have snapped the Belgian shin in two. Rightly, Alli was shown a straight red card by referee Jorge Sousa, and Tottenham's hopes of salvaging the tie never fully recovered. But the England playmaker is certainly not the first to leave an opponent crumpled on the turf in agony. Here's our selection of some of world football's most horrific tackles. The Manchester United captain's horrendously high tackle was bad enough in itself, but it was made worse when Keane revealed he had deliberately intended to gain revenge on Haaland. The Norwegian had been a Leeds United player when he caused Keane cruciate ligament damage during an earlier clash in the 1997-98 season and claimed that Keane was feigning injury. As later revealed in his autobiography, Keane bided his time and waited until this 50-50 tackle in the Manchester Derby to plant his studs in Haaland's knee. Keane was shown a straight red card and didn't complain. Haaland never played at the top level again. Many players like to leave a marker on their opposite number early on, but Souness took it to another level when Rangers played St in a 1988 European Cup tie at Ibrox. Just 6 minutes in and Souness, despite having control of the ball, decided to take a chunk out of Georgi Rotaru's thigh. Hilariously, Souness attempts to protest his innocence by pointing to his calf, but the referee is rightly having none of it. The Merseyside Derby isn't a game in need of additional spice, but Steven Gerrard provided some at Anfield in 2003 when his two-footed lunge left Gary Naismith writhing in agony on the floor. Gerrard was found guilty of violent conduct at an FA hearing and served a 3-match suspension for the awful challenge, even if he stressed, "I tried to pull back. I certainly never intended to hurt him." Liverpool manager Gerrard later offered his support. "It was practically an accident. It certainly didn't look that way." A collision that still sends a shudder down the spine even now. The 1982 World Cup semi-final is delicately poised at 1-1 as French substitute Patrick Battison bears down on goal. The West German keeper Schumacher comes racing out and neither is going to give the ball up. The two collided at speed, with Schumacher's survival instincts kicking in as he twists his body to reduce the damage to himself. He catches Battison full in the face, knocking out 3 teeth and causing vertebrae damage after the Frenchman lands smack on the turf. "I thought he was dead," said Michel Platini. "Because he had no pulse and looked pale." Schumacher, unaware how much damage he'd caused, said simply after Germany's extra-time win, "If that's all that's wrong with him, I'll pay him the crowns." It is still a mystery how Nigel de Jong remained on the pitch after his extraordinary King Fu kick to the chest of Spain's Xabi Alonso. Perhaps it was because it occurred during such a tempestuous World Cup final that referee Howard Webb was lenient. The English official later admitted he was wrong to leave this assault unpunished. Thatcher's brutal forearm smash into the face of Pedro Mendes gained him instant villain status and a long spell on the sidelines. The Manchester City man ran halfway across the pitch and led with his elbow in knocking the Pompey player unconscious. Mendes needed oxygen and suffered a seizure as a result of the challenge. Incredibly, Thatcher was shown just a yellow card, prompting Portsmouth's Matt Taylor to say, "How can that now be a sending off? What do you have to do, kill someone?" Thatcher was retrospectively punished, however, with an 8-game FA ban plus a 6-match club suspension. If you search on YouTube for horror tackles, this often comes up. It's from the 2007 New Zealand League Grand Final and sees Manapi of Waitakere United buckling the leg of Auckland's Ricky van Steeden. I'll let this video do the talking, and it seems to get more gruesome on each viewing. Only watch if you're not squeamish. And, yes, the leg was broken. And, yes, he was sent off. It's only fair to warn you that the close-up of this tackle will turn your stomach. It even looks horrendous when the camera is fully panned out. This took place in the South African Premier League in 2009, and you can only imagine how those with front row seats in the dugout must have winced at the yelp of pain. Back to the English Premier League and a tackle most of you will remember from a few seasons back. Contesting a 50-50 ball, the Wigan man raised his boot and stamps it right into the Newcastle player's knee, leaving him to be taken off on a stretcher and sparking a mass brawl. Referee Mark Halsey didn't spot the tackle at the time and had to apologize to Newcastle manager Alan Pardew afterwards. Realizing he was beaten for pace, Jenks Mavina tries to wrap his foot around the ball and put it out for a throw-in. But the attempt goes very badly wrong as he catches the standard Liege man plumb in the face and sends him crashing face first to the ground. The Moroccan suffered a broken jaw and nose that required surgery, but he was remaining positive. I realized that I've been very lucky. Thank God I'm still alive. After all, I could be dead. The moment that ended Arsenal's Premier League title challenge in 2007-08 and led to Birmingham's Martin Taylor receiving death threats. His tackle on informed Eduardo made for agonizing viewing and left Arsene Wenger incensed, as his striker suffered a dislocation of his left ankle and missed the rest of the season. Taylor received a red card, as you might expect. Another shocker from Belgium that tarnished the reputation of Witsel as he made his breakthrough at Liege. Contesting a ball near the touchline with Vasilevsky, he deliberately stamps on the Anderlecht man's leg. Vasilevsky was sidelined for a whole year with a broken leg, while Witsel received an 8-match suspension. Step aside, Cantona. This is how to perform a kung fu kick. Or not. Stepanenko was shown a red card for this disgraceful flying tackle on Moldova defender Bordian.